You're now listening to episode 104 of the Real Estate CPA Podcast.
Your source for all things real estate, accounting, and tax. Here we reveal our secrets that can save you thousands in taxes, streamline your accounting process, and help grow your business. Stay tuned to hear insightful interviews with industry experts, successful real estate investors, and current clients on what strategies they use to grow their business and how they steer clear of Uncle Sam.
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. Brandon Hall and Thomas Castelli joined here today with Gregg and Alexis from Buildium. Buildium is a cloud-based property management platform that gives landlords and property managers the power to take control of every aspect of their business, whether it's in the office or fully remote, including online rent payments, vacancy management, maintenance cycles, accounting, and much more. In today's episode, we discuss how delegating your property management to a third party and using property management software like Buildium can help free your time so you can focus on more important things like growing your business. We also discuss the brand new features such as analytics that Buildium just released yesterday to help you gain better insights into the performance of your business and make better decisions. Hey everyone, we want to let you know about a new podcast we're releasing today called the Staying Power Podcast. This is a podcast that will explore the challenges business owners face as they grow. Together, Brandon Hall and I ask the tough questions to show you that running a business is not for the faint at heart, but if you have the staying power, you'll overcome your challenges and achieve lasting success. Subscribe to the Staying Power Podcast today on your favorite podcast platform, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, and wherever else podcasts can be found. We hope you'll love this new podcast just as much as the Real Estate CPA Podcast. However, for right now, we'll jump right into today's episode. Gregg, Alexis, thanks so much for taking the time to come on the show today. Before we get started, could each of you give us a brief background about your roles at Buildium?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us. We're really excited to sit down and chat with you today. I am the Channel Sales and Partnership Expansion Consultant here at Buildium. I will be celebrating my 1-year anniversary with Buildium next month. And my responsibilities are to source and nurture partnerships that will generate demand for the Buildium platform, and then also be the sales consultant to that referred business from our partnerships, similar to the partnership that we have with the Real Estate CPA. I help them evaluate Buildium and share best practices specific to their use case, so we ensure the success in using Buildium.
Yeah, as Gregg said, thanks for having us today. Looking forward to the conversation. I'm a manager here on our customer success team. I've been at Buildium for about 3 years. And I started out as a customer success manager on our key accounts team. We also call them CSMs. And now I lead a group of CSMs working in our small to mid markets. And our customer success manager's role is really to understand why a customer purchased Buildium, what their goals are as their business evolves, and really make sure that they're achieving those desired outcomes. And we do that through proactively reaching out to them to discuss their current workflows and make recommendations to get more value out of the system.
Got it. I remember that Gregg had actually spoke at the Tax and Legal Summit a few months ago. What have you guys been up to since then?
Yeah, well, first off, congrats, by the way, on the Tax and Legal Summit, the Slack community, the podcast. It's pretty exciting seeing what you guys have been doing over the last couple of months. And, we've been pretty busy here at Buildium as well. This week, we've released our new pricing and packaging, which is really exciting. And there have been a lot of advancements to the platform over the last couple of months. Some of them that we're most excited about are Analytics Hub, right? And our Analytics Hub it's going to give you more insight into your business. It's a visual representation that allows you to, access powerful analytics and insights, to help you make better decisions about your business. And within this hub, there's things like, e-pay adoption. So how are your, residents paying? Is there a disproportionate amount of people still using, paper checks? There's the resident center usage. Communication is really key in tenants' happiness, and we want to make sure that you're engaging those tenants. Another powerful insight in this hub is the leasing performance. So, how much money are we leaving on the table based on market rates? And that's tremendously valuable when it comes time for lease renewals, right? And, are you aligned with the current market? Company revenue is another insight that's really powerful. And, it's going to show you how your revenue breaks down across all the different levers you're pulling, whether it be convenience fee revenue, late fee revenue, maintenance markups. All of this powerful, information is going to be housed in this hub, and we're really excited for its launch. The second thing that's really exciting, and I'm really excited about it, is our open API, which we just launched, right? And so an API is basically designed to free your data. It allows you to export your data into other platforms other than Buildium. And it's going to give you even more capability with the information that you have in our system. And we're also really excited to sort of iterate on that and enhance it throughout the rest of 2020. Another thing, I'd be remiss if I didn't cover it, but our acquisition by RealPage closed at the end of last year. And as of 2020, we are a RealPage company. So that's really exciting. It's going to provide us, RealPage has tremendous technology. It's got a lot of valuable resources that we're going to be utilizing. And, our clients are really going to be happy with some of the things that, we're going to be doing over the next couple of months.
It sounds like a lot of really awesome updates. And I know that one thing that we have done in the past for a lot of our clients is we've created G Sheet dashboards to give a lot of those analytics that seems like you're talking about. So now Buildium just has it built in, which is great. How does that compare to like other property management platforms, the analytics piece?
I think that the enhancements that we make, like all the information that you need to run an effective property management or, real estate investment business is going to be easily accessed with this analytics hub. So I think it's on par, if not better, than some of the tools that are out there that we compete against.
And these changes are live now. Is that correct?
Yes, they are live.
All right. So whenever you're listening to this podcast, you can go into Buildium there and check it out. And what is our Buildium page again? We'll get that for you by the end of this show. We have a special Buildium page, if you're listening, that we can direct you to. And I will look for that and announce it a little bit later on in this interview. But I'm going to kick it back to Tom. I think we want to talk about some property management stuff, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, so, property management, there's a lot of problems that people have, and real estate investors specifically, when it comes to property management. And, our question is, what problems does Buildium solve for landlords?
Yeah, I'll take that because, during the sales process, we take a pretty consultative approach when somebody is evaluating Buildium. And, we're always asking the question of our clients, what are the challenges that you're facing? What are the roadblocks, right? What might be holding you back from growing and being more successful? And then we always kind of preface it like, what does your business look like today? And what do you want it to look like tomorrow? Right. And usually the challenges fall into three categories. The first of which is organization, right? Managing the day-to-day operations can be a challenge. So for some of your listeners, managing a real estate portfolio may not be their full-time job, right? They may use it as supplemental income, and they have a full-time job that takes up, a majority of their time. One of the nice things about this industry is a lot of the processes, a lot of the things with regards to owning rental properties or managing rental properties is the processes are cyclical, right? Rent is due at a certain date. Late fees kick in at a certain time. Leases, right? Leases are set for a fixed period of time and they renew. There's routine maintenance, there's seasonal maintenance. There are things that you can kind of set up and automate. And something like Buildium allows you to be able to set it and forget it, so to speak, and manage that portfolio of properties without too much work. So the organization of everything, if you're keeping things on spreadsheets now and Post-it notes, you're not going to be able to scale. You're not going to be able to grow. You're just going to experience a lot of pain that can be solved with utilizing Buildium. And I think it's also important, while we're on the topic of organization, is to talk about, the fiduciary responsibility of someone that's managing properties or owning properties. There's a lot of compliance, right, that you need to adhere to. Managing finances, keeping track of incoming and outgoing funds. I know, Brandon, in some of the content that we've collaborated on, One thing that I think we've always said is if you're not ready for an audit within an hour, you're not keeping clean enough books, right? And that's where Buildium really shines. And from unlimited document storage and being able to connect and tie transactions to specific units, specific properties, it's specific to property management software that really sort of makes doing it a lot easier and a lot safer. The second biggest challenge I think that we run into a lot is managing tenants. And you're providing for someone to live, right? You're providing a home for someone, and it can be a personal experience. There are good tenants and there are bad tenants, right? And the goal is to have as many, if not all, good tenants. And one of the things that Buildium helps you with is evaluating tenants before they even step foot in one of your units. We have a great partnership with TransUnion. They do all of our screening in the application. They run a full credit, full criminal eviction history. So you can make the best decision you can for your unit and your business, making sure you have the right people renting your property. And, once you have that tenant, communication, I think, is really key. Happy tenants renew leases, reduce churn, and then your vacancy rates are much lower. So you're making more money by engaging with your tenants, communicating with them, and giving them things like a resident portal to access information like a copy of their lease, to pay rent online, to submit maintenance requests, and really collaborate with that tenant to make it an exceptional experience. Which is also a good segue into probably the third and final, I'll cap it off at 3 challenges, and that's maintenance, right? Maintenance, it's always kind of clunky. It's always kind of cumbersome. We've heard from our customers that, maintenance workflows in Buildium are life-changing. Compared to a manual process where you're emailing people back and forth, you're calling vendors, you're trying to get things fixed. If you have maintenance on staff, communicating with them, it can get super messy. Within the Buildium platform, it's automated, it's streamlined. A tenant can submit a maintenance request. The administrator of the platform can assign that maintenance task to, someone on their team. They can reach out to a vendor, submit a work order. It doesn't have to be complicated. So Buildium, it gives you a way to streamline and automate, right? But it's intuitive without being complicated.
So it sounds like overall, it's like, so when you're managing property, right, there's all these different types of things that needs to happen. And Buildium is your system for making that happen and streamlining that process. So you're not running all over your office, all over your house, wherever you're managing your properties from, trying to hold everything together, having to keep everything, top of mind or written on schedules or whatnot. This kind of systematizes it, streamlines it so that you can scale and focus on other things, whether it's your full-time job, finding more properties, or whatever the case might be.
Yep. Yeah, it's a complete system of record, and it's really nice. And one of the things that you can easily do in our platform, we have a global search functionality. If I need to find a tenant, all I have to do is write in their name. If I'm looking for something at a unit or a property, all I have to do is type in the address. If you're keeping track of who's like parking in the spot, you can type in a license plate, and it will pull up whether or not it's registered to the property. The ease of use, having all the information in one system, it's really impactful to someone's business who wants to take it to the next level.
Now, Buildium has property managers and real estate investors on the platform, right?
Correct. And so owner operators, as we call them, are our real estate investors, people that own property and maybe manage them themselves. Property management companies that give access to the platform to the owner operators.
Got it. What would be the benefits for a real estate investor to outsource their property management to a property manager or just self-manage on Buildium themselves? Where do you see the differences lying there?
Yeah, I can jump in there. That's a great question. Selecting the right property manager is so important because whoever you choose really does end up representing not just you, but your property investment. So property managers are really the face of the unit, and they're truly the masters of relationships. We know that this is very much a relationship business. They must be the point of contact. They have to kind of manage a lot of different folks that they're communicating with, whether that's the tenants, the owners, vendors, neighbors, their own staff, right? So you have to make sure that you're direct with one another and really set expectations going into that relationship on what you want it to look like. And so Every year, we survey property investors and owners, and we ask them questions about their portfolio and their relationship with their property manager. And consistently, the thing that we hear the most every time, it's one of the biggest, most important things is communication, right? Like whether they don't communicate or communicate well, that kind of dictates like how much you like that relationship. So really looking for a property manager who demonstrates that thoroughly and their responsiveness to that communication from the get-go. The sales process is probably one of the best early indicators of the type of communication you can expect from them once you hire them. But you also ask kind of who's the right fit to outsource property management. And I would say that hiring a professional property manager is a good idea. Really, if you're feeling overwhelmed with the day-to-day responsibilities, if you're at risk of losing control over the business side, the tenant management side, and if you think that your efforts and your energies would really be better served somewhere else. So whether that's the strategic financial aspect of investing or growing your portfolio or your day-to-day job, I like to sum it up as property managers give you peace of mind, right? Like simply put, it's that peace of mind. It's a professional property manager has the technology you need to manage efficiently. They have the vendor relationships to keep projects moving. They can help spread out the cost of resources and handle things that we know can be challenging and add stress, like we talked about earlier, maintenance. And as previously stated, they really have the overall skill set to really communicate with all those different parties that are involved.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And, one of the things that we've always seen is that, if you really want to scale your portfolio, you really want to grow, you have limited time and resources, right? You might have a full-time job. And if you're sitting there managing your property and worried about that aspect of it, that's preventing you from going and talking to brokers, going and looking at properties, going to obtain financing, whether that be from investors or from the bank. And those are the aspects that are really going to grow your portfolio, not managing the property. So outsourcing the property management to a property manager is necessary so you could focus on those more important tasks. A quick follow-up question to that. How does Buildium help the property manager and the owner of the property communicate better with each other?
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head completely, right? Outsourcing property management really frees up your time to focus on the financial health of your portfolio and new opportunities to grow it. So by handing off that day-to-day of the tenant communications, the leasing, the paperwork, the bookkeeping, the maintenance, all of those different workflows, it really does allow you to spend your time on growth, partnerships, researching new possibilities to invest more. You can kind of think of it as freeing you up to work on your business instead of in your business. So Buildium helps kind of streamline a lot of those workflows, like Gregg kind of mentioned earlier, and that in turn helps, professional property managers really be able to do those things for you more efficiently and free up your own time.
Absolutely. We are accountants here. So, and we are an accounting and tax podcast. So we always have to ask some accounting and tax related stuff and want to know what type of integrations does Buildium have, specifically any tax and accounting integrations with perhaps other softwares?
Yeah, right off the bat, we have some really great strategic integrations with leading industry tools to really support the leasing cycle. So we give you the ability to link your open listings to syndicated listing sites. So really with one click, you can kind of post and push out your vacancies to multiple places like Zillow, apartments.com, Apartment List, and others. And then we also have an integration with Tenant Turner, which allows you to coordinate rental showings with your prospective tenants in a streamlined way. It has options also for call center service and electronic lockboxes through them. And then as Gregg mentioned earlier, we do partner with TransUnion to enable you to do efficient and trustworthy application tenant screenings right out of Buildium. Some of the other customer favorites, we like to call them best-in-class partnerships that are worth mentioning include our integration with HappyCo, specifically with their Happy Inspector app. It's one of the best tools out there for inspecting properties. It's super easy to use. You use it right from your phone or any iOS or Android device. And one of the coolest things about that app is you really don't need to be on Wi-Fi to use it. You can go out there and do your inspections and then sync up your reports back to Buildium when you return to your office or Wi-Fi. We also have an integrated renter's insurance solution so that your residents can protect their belongings and give you peace of mind. And some tools that have been really popular, especially in light of the pandemic and everyone's need to keep socially distanced, is our remote check printing service and our easy mail service, which really allows you to cost effectively send out mailings to residents. And We don't currently have any specific tax or accounting integrations, but we did recently announce our new open API, as Gregg mentioned. So I think the possibilities are endless as to what Buildium could connect with in the future.
Does Buildium now connect with Zapier with the API?
I am not entirely sure exactly all the things that they can plug into. I mean, it's a data out API, so we can definitely, have that conversation.
Very cool. Yes, that's really good because I know that a lot of other property management firms are pretty closed, and that's always one of our biggest struggles. And when you guys have been great chatting with about that, is just that at the end of the day, it's difficult to integrate with like QuickBooks Online or Xero or something like that. So it's really cool to see these changes.
Yeah, and it's very early, right? We just released this open API, so we don't know what we don't know, and which vendors are going to want to access it. We're really excited about it. I think it's definitely a differentiator in the industry, like you mentioned. We want to free your data, and we want you to be able to use the other platforms that you want to use to be successful. And so we've heard that loud and clear. And it's going to be really exciting to see what people are going to connect to.
I could definitely see people reaching out. I could definitely see like the Zeros and the QuickBooks Onlines of the world, reaching out at some point saying, hey, let's integrate this with our platforms. I mean, they would be smart to do so, but we'll see. Would you be able to give us like a quick story or an example of a customer with like a mid-sized portfolio, let's say single family rentals with like say 5 to 20 units? What would their experience be like using Buildium?
So first off, I think with regards to the use of Buildium, we pride ourselves on its ease of use. It's something that, if you look at some of the business software rating companies like G2 Crowd and the like, easiest to use is always something that Buildium really shines at. So if you're just getting into property management, if you, have 1, 5, 10 properties and you're new to property management, your experience and your barrier for entry is significantly reduced if you start things off by utilizing Buildium. One particular thing that I think I would like to highlight is because I was actually having a conversation with a client just last week. And one of the things that was really interesting and kind of fascinating with regard to this conversation was he lives here in Massachusetts, but he doesn't own any properties in Massachusetts, which I thought was interesting, right? We were talking about, where the latest and greatest market trends are trending, where the next area is to invest in, outside of, where he is. And, Buildium allows you to do that. Buildium allows you to say, I live here, but I want to invest in Ohio. I want to invest in Nashville. I want to invest in Florida, right? I can go and buy those properties and I can manage them right from my office 1,000 miles away. And I can only do that by utilizing, cloud-based software like Buildium, where I'm collecting rent electronically. I'm submitting work orders to vendors that are local to the unit, right? So all of those kinds of things give you so much flexibility on where you can spend your money and where you can invest in properties. And I think that's something that a lot of people should know, and a lot of people shouldn't be limited to their backyard. And it's a success story that I think, resonates with maybe a lot of people that might be looking outside of their, zip code. And then also with the new analytics hub, where we're going to give you that market data, that trending leasing data for the area that your property is in. If you're not living there, you may not have your finger on the pulse, but you will have it now in the Buildium platform, which is really neat.
Let's take another example, say a larger client, someone who's managing multifamily properties. They're in that type of business, like the 20 plus range. What type of experience would they have using the platform?
Yeah, one customer in particular comes to mind. We have a customer up in Buffalo, New York. They're called Standard Property Management. And they got started with us. They started in 2011 with just a 20-unit building and have been using Buildium ever since that first investment. Fast forward to today, and they have around 900 units under management. About half of those are owned, and the other half are professionally managed for other investors. And their portfolio includes a mix of mostly multifamily housing properties, but they also have some commercial, some storage units, and some HOA communities as well. But at first, they were only focused on residential. They've slowly infused other property types because the deals were too good to pass up. But they credit their diversified portfolio to the fact that they were so easy to onboard into Buildium with the rest of their portfolio. And their growth has been really exciting, starting with 20 units. And just 2 years ago, they were at 600 units. And within the next 12 to 18 months, they expect to surpass 1,500 units under management. So pretty cool there.
So it sounds like Buildium can handle a pretty diverse portfolio as well as scale, which is great to hear. Who would not be a good fit for Buildium?
Not a good fit for Buildium. That's a great question. We see such a mix of portfolios in our system. And so I think there's some edge cases out there. I think people get creative with their businesses, and those processes may not fit directly into the technology, right? Sometimes it's like a business practice and a technology practice. You have to find where they come together. But I think the reality is anything that has, a unit that does a lease, that there's some kind of tracking like that, Buildium has that capabilities, right? So like I said, we've seen storage units, we've seen rental, we have some people that do student housing, we see low income housing, different, dwelling types. So I think that there's quite a bit that you can do in Buildium. I think just sometimes it's that happy mix of your processes versus Buildium's processes.
I think that's a really great answer, though, because it's like the same thing when somebody asks us who's not a great fit to be a client at the real estate CPA. It's like, well, I mean, we can work with anybody that's in the real estate industry, but the question is, are you going to do it our way? And I'm not necessarily saying that's what Buildium is saying, but there is a certain level of, if you're going to adopt any sort of software, you also have to make tweaks to your operating model and your processes and procedures. So trialing it. Yeah, exactly. So trialing it, testing it out, and making sure that it makes sense for your business is a really smart thing to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that all makes a tremendous amount of sense, just because if you look at it this way, right? If you want to just operate with your processes and you just want to do it completely your way, I mean, you might as well go build out your own property management system, which isn't probably practical for a lot of people. So if you want to use a platform like Buildium,
we see it all the time. All the time. G Sheets, man. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So is there anything else we should know about Buildium, or listeners should know about Buildium, that will help them manage their properties, or perhaps work better with their property manager or their investors? Should they have any other anecdotes we haven't talked about yet today?
One of the things I think we could also highlight is, talking about growth and scaling, right? If you add, 100 properties, right, to your portfolio, and you haven't scaled and you haven't put together the right processes effectively, you're going to experience a lot of pain rather quickly. So one of the things that Buildium allows you to do, especially with our new pricing and packaging, is Buildium really is set up to grow with you and grow and scale as you grow, right? We have functionality that we can add to the platform, as you expand your business and as you grow. You have the tools and the resources that, will make you successful, that Buildium can provide for you. So I think it's really important that we talk about the person with 5 units and we talk about the person with 1,500 units. They're both using the same platform. And I think that's an exceptional nod to Buildium and how we could support both instances.
I'm curious to hear what the most raved about feature of Buildium is. Like, what sort of feedback do you get, or what's like the coolest feature that you consistently get positive feedback about?
Well, I'm not sure about positive. I don't know if it's like the coolest feature, like it's our number one, but like our mobile apps functionality is second to none. You can access the Resident Center on, an iOS device or an Android device. Go to the Google Play Store, go to the App Store. Our Resident Center app has the same functionality as if you logged in online. And our owner portal, basically, where administrators and maintenance and owners can actually log into the Buildium platform via the app. The mobile functionality it's purpose built on a mobile platform, and it gives you a lot of the functionality, if not the same functionality as if you were logging in on your desktop. And I think that we get a lot of great feedback, and kudos to our product team and our mobile team. They've done a tremendous job with it.
I'll add to that also. I know that we have tons of features and functionality and they're all great. And Like we've talked about today, a lot of things, it's about automating processes and really streamlining and becoming more efficient and being able to scale. But I would say one of our number one tools that people really like, I think it's a reason why some people purchase Buildium, and one of the things that they really benefit from is our e-pay functionality and the ability for residents to go on and pay online, especially in today's climate with the pandemic as well. Like we've seen people take more advantage of that as well, not going in and making payments, but being able to do that from anywhere remotely. And that really has cut down on manual labor, manual time, calls, everything like that. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the resident portal and being able to make those payments, rent payments from online, from your mobile device. You could be on vacation or just stuck in your house, but regardless, you're able to make that payment. And it's beneficial to not only, the resident, it's that convenience to the resident, but it also really cuts down on a lot of time and labor, which are also money to a property manager, to a rental owner. So I think that's one that has significantly helped our customers.
And so before we jump into the last question here, so I want to let everybody know, we're going to go ahead and drop the Buildium link, the Real Estate CPA Buildium link into the show notes below so that everybody who's listening can go ahead and access that. What would be the best way for our listeners to learn more about Buildium and the features they have available?
So they can always go to Buildium.com, right? There's a tremendous amount of resources on the website, not only in regards to Buildium, the actual software, but to learn more about property management, there's an entire resource section on Buildium.com. Our research team does a lot of work, a lot of industry-specific research, and puts out some amazing content. There's accounting practices, there's property management practices, there's tenant information and all that kind of stuff. So it's not only just a resource for Buildium clients. We consider ourselves an industry thought leader, and we provide those resources for anybody that's accessing our website. So I encourage you to go to Buildium.com. I encourage you to look at our industry report, which we do at NARPM every year, which is unbelievable. All of these things are available to you. You don't even have to become a Buildium client, but if you're interested in becoming a Buildium client, go to that partnership page that Thomas just mentioned, fill out your information. You'll be contacted by me. So I am the channel sales consultant for all of our partners, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about how Buildium can help you set up a successful business on the platform.
Absolutely. So I want to thank you, Greg. I want to thank you, Alexis, for coming on the show today. We're looking forward to putting this out there. And for everybody who's listening, if you are managing properties, you should be using a platform like Buildium. You're crazy to do it otherwise. And that's a wrap for today.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks for listening to today's show. If you enjoyed the show, please find us on iTunes and leave us a review. You can also email us at contact@therealestatecpa.com with any feedback or topic suggestions. We are always taking on new clients, and with the new tax laws in play, you really don't want to navigate this alone. Let us help you save money on taxes and with your accounting and CFO needs. To become a client, navigate to our client page at therealestatecpa.com and fill out a web form with as much detail about your situation as possible. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great rest of your week.